Welcome back, legends. Today's video holds a Bruce Lee message that can flip your entire mindset in seconds. If you're ready to break limits and unlock real growth, you're in the right place. Stay with me till the end, because this lesson hits deeper than motivation. And before we start, make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss the wisdom coming your way. Bruce Lee stood alone in his quiet training room, the air thick with focus and determination. He had been practicing the same movement over and over, each attempt falling short of what he imagined in his mind. His punches were sharp, his footwork was fast, but something inside him whispered that it still wasn't perfect. He paused, breathing deeply, staring at his reflection in the mirror. Sweat rolled down his forehead, but it wasn't the physical strain that bothered him. It was something deeper, something emotional. For a moment, he felt the same frustration that millions of people feel when they believe they're not good enough, when they think they must be flawless before they take the next step. And suddenly he smiled, a calm, almost knowing smile. And he said the words that would become one of the most powerful, mind-shifting truths of his life. Perfection is your enemy. Those words didn't come from anger. They came from clarity. Bruce realized that chasing perfection wasn't making him stronger. It was slowing him down. It was stopping him from moving, learning, adapting, growing. He stepped closer to the mirror and continued talking to himself quietly, almost like teaching a lesson he had just discovered. Perfection tells you to wait, to think, to doubt. Progress tells you to move. In that moment, everything changed. He understood that perfection wasn't a goal. It was a trap that keeps people stuck, afraid to try, afraid to fail, afraid to be seen as anything less than flawless. Bruce thought about how many dreams die because someone is waiting for the perfect moment. How many ideas stay locked inside because someone fears they're not perfect at start. How many lives remain unchanged because the chase for perfection becomes heavier than the desire for progress. He tightened his fists, not out of anger, but out of resolve. From that day forward, he promised himself one thing: to choose movement over waiting, action over fear, progress over perfection. And that decision transformed him forever. But Bruce didn't stop there. What he discovered next will challenge everything you believe about fear, failure, and the prison inside your mind. After that moment of clarity, Bruce Lee began to understand something even deeper, something that affects almost every person in the world. Perfection wasn't just a mental block. It was a silent trap. A trap that slowly captures your confidence, your creativity, and your courage without you even noticing. Bruce knew this because he had lived it. Every time he tried to make something perfect, he felt pressure building inside his mind. The more he wanted flawless results, the more fear grew in the background. Fear of mistakes, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. But here's the truth Bruce discovered. Perfection doesn't push you forward, it freezes you in place. He watched people around him, students, actors, athletes, even friends, holding themselves back. Not because they lacked talent, but because they thought they had to be perfect before they even began. They waited for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect confidence. And while they waited, life moved on without them. Bruce realized something important. The world doesn't reward perfection. It rewards action, effort, and consistency. And so he made a choice, one that became a core part of his philosophy. He decided that small steps, even imperfect ones, were more powerful than waiting for flawless ones. He believed progress was a force of nature, something that grows stronger every time you dare to move. He often said that mistakes weren't failures. They were proof that you were trying, proof that you were alive, proof that you were learning. As he continued shaping his philosophy, he wanted people to understand one simple truth. The real danger is not in trying and failing. The real danger is never trying at all. Bruce looked at perfectionism like a wall inside the mind, a wall that people build themselves. But just like any wall, it can be removed one brick at a time by taking action, even if it feels small or uncertain. Before moving to the next part, Bruce wanted to speak directly to anyone listening. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Just begin. Your journey starts the moment you take that first step. Let me know in the comments, which country or city are you watching this video from? I want to see how far Bruce Lee's message is reaching. Bruce Lee always believed that the mind was the strongest weapon a human could ever possess. But he also knew something most people never realize. The mind can become your greatest enemy when fear controls it. And at the center of perfection, fear is always silently hiding. After breaking free from the idea of being flawless, Bruce started studying the true source of hesitation. Why do people freeze? Why do people stop themselves? Why do people dream big but act small? The deeper he looked, the clearer the answer became. Perfection isn't ambition. It's fear wearing a mask. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of not being enough. Fear of beginning at the bottom. These fears don't shout. They whisper. They whisper things like, wait a little longer. You're not ready. What if you embarrass yourself? What if others laugh? Bruce remembered moments from his own past. Moments when he questioned himself. Moments when he wondered if the world would accept his ideas, his style, his new approach to martial arts. He wasn't afraid of opponents. He wasn't afraid of punches or kicks. What he feared was the weight of expectations, the pressure to be perfect in the eyes of others. That realization shook him. He understood that perfection is not a high standard. It's a high wall. People hide behind it because they're scared to step into the open where mistakes are visible. But Bruce believed mistakes were not marks of weakness. They were signs of courage. They were proof that someone was brave enough to try. He once said, "The man who is afraid to take the first step has already taken the last." In his eyes, the real battle was never in the dojo, never in front of a camera, never inside the ring. The real battle was within, a battle against the fear of starting imperfectly. He saw students with incredible potential hold back their punches because they were afraid they might throw them wrong. He watched people hesitate to speak, afraid their words wouldn't sound perfect. He saw talents dimmed, dreams delayed, lives paused, all because of fear. Bruce wanted people to understand one truth. Perfection doesn't protect you. It traps you. When you chase perfect, you stop moving. When you stop moving, you stop growing. And when you stop growing, you lose the chance to become who you're meant to be. Bruce believed courage wasn't the absence of fear. It was the decision to move despite it. So he encouraged people to start small, start messy, start unsure, but start anyway. Because action builds confidence, and confidence destroys fear. Before ending this part of the message, Bruce wanted to challenge anyone listening. What are you losing because you're waiting to be perfect? If you've ever held yourself back because of fear, type fear in the comments. Let's fight it together. But the story doesn't end here. The moment Bruce stopped chasing perfection and embraced progress, everything in his life transformed. What happened next changed martial arts forever. The turning point in Bruce Lee's life didn't happen during a fight. It didn't happen on a movie set. It didn't happen under bright lights or in front of cheering crowds. It happened in a quiet moment of truth, when he stopped chasing perfection and started embracing progress. From that moment on, everything about Bruce began to transform. His training changed. His mindset changed. His entire philosophy shifted. Instead of focusing on flawless form, he focused on fluid expression. Instead of trying to master a single perfect style, he opened himself to all styles, all movements, all possibilities. He believed that perfection created limits, but progress created freedom. And Bruce Lee was born to be free. As he trained, he started noticing something incredible. The less he worried about being perfect, the faster he improved. His punches became more natural, his footwork more effortless, his reactions sharper. He moved like water, smooth, adaptable, unpredictable. This transformation didn't make him just a better martial artist. It made him a better thinker, a better creator, a better leader. Bruce began teaching his students the same philosophy. He told them to stop copying others and start discovering themselves. He encouraged them to express their own style, their own rhythm, their own identity. Because perfection forces you to imitate, but progress allows you to evolve. He once said, Instead of trying to be perfect, try to be alive. And that was exactly what he did. Every movement he made, every technique he created, every philosophy he shared came from freedom, not pressure. From clarity, not fear. From authenticity, not imitation. His transformation became so powerful that even those around him felt it. Directors noticed his confidence on camera. Students felt his energy in training. Friends noticed the calmness in his presence. Bruce wasn't chasing a standard anymore. He was chasing growth. And that growth made him unstoppable. People often think legends are born from talent alone. But Bruce showed the world that true greatness is born from constant improvement. He didn't try to be the best version of someone else. He tried to be the better version of himself every single day. He embraced mistakes as teachers. He embraced movement as progress. He embraced growth as his mission. And because of this, his philosophy began to spread far beyond martial arts. It reached athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, and everyday people who felt trapped by the pressure to be perfect. Bruce gave them permission to breathe, to try, to start, to grow, to be human. The world didn't admire his perfection. The world admired his courage to grow. And the moment Bruce made that shift, when he let go of perfection, he unlocked a version of himself that changed history. But Bruce's transformation didn't stop there. His next discovery revealed one of the most powerful ideas of his life, the truth behind Be Water. And it connects directly to breaking free from perfection. Bruce Lee's transformation reached a whole new level when he connected his mindset about progress to one of his most famous philosophies, Be Water. Most people hear those words and think they're just poetic. But for Bruce, Be Water was a complete blueprint for life. And it linked perfectly with his belief that perfection is the enemy of growth. He used to say that water never seeks perfection. Water never waits for the perfect moment. Water simply moves. It flows around obstacles. It adapts to whatever shape is in front of it. It doesn't freeze in fear. It doesn't hesitate. It doesn't worry about being flawless. Water stays in motion. And motion is what creates power. Bruce realized that the same principle applies to life. When you move, even slowly, even imperfectly, you create progress. You create momentum. You create opportunities. But when you try to be perfect before you move, you block your own path. He explained this idea to his students constantly. Look at water, he said. It doesn't complain. It doesn't wait. It doesn't try to impress. It simply continues forward. He wanted people to understand that greatness doesn't come from perfect plans. Greatness comes from continuous movement, from trying, adjusting, learning, improving, flowing. He believed that the biggest mistake people make is thinking they must start strong. But Bruce said the truth is the opposite. You just need to start. Every master was once a beginner who chose to move. Every champion was once a student who dared to try. Every expert was once someone who didn't know what they were doing, but kept going anyway. Bruce applied this philosophy to everything he touched: martial arts, acting, training, teaching, thinking, living. He didn't want to be rigid. He didn't want to be locked into a pattern. He wanted to be flexible enough to grow beyond anything he had been taught. And the moment he stopped chasing perfect technique and started chasing natural flow, he unlocked something extraordinary. Creativity. His movements became art. His techniques became innovation. His philosophy became inspiration for millions. Bruce believed that water was the perfect teacher because it showed how to live freely. But he also pointed out something people often overlook. Water becomes powerful not because it is perfect, but because it is consistent. A river cuts through rock, not because it is strong, but because it never stops. A drop of water shapes steel, not because it is perfect, but because it keeps falling. Bruce wanted everyone to realize the same is true for life. You don't lose because you're not perfect. You lose when you refuse to start. Every single day, he pushed himself to move, even when he was tired, unsure, or imperfect. And those small daily steps built the legend we know today. He believed progress wasn't something you waited for. Progress was something you created. By choosing to be like water, flexible, adaptable, unstoppable, Bruce freed himself from the pressure to impress others and focused instead on expressing himself. And that decision changed everything. But there was one more truth. Bruce discovered a truth that separates people who grow from people who stay stuck. In the next part, we uncover the powerful difference between perfection and real progress. There comes a moment in every person's journey when a single sentence stops you. It freezes your thoughts. It forces you to confront the version of yourself you've been avoiding. And in this part of the video, that moment becomes impossible to escape because Bruce Lee's message lands with a force that feels personal. Perfection is your enemy. But what does this mean on a deeper emotional, psychological level? Let's break it open, slowly, powerfully, and truthfully, so every viewer feels this message settling into their mind. Think about how many dreams die silently inside us. Not because we lack strength, not because we lack talent, but because we fear doing something imperfectly. We fear being judged. We fear starting small. We fear failing publicly. And Bruce Lee exposes this fear like a spotlight. He reminds us that perfection is not a goal. It's a barrier. It is the invisible wall standing between who you are and who you want to become. Now, imagine you're standing on the edge of a decision. Something you want to start. Something you've postponed for months, maybe even years. Every time you try to begin, a voice whispers, "Not yet, you're not ready." It's not perfect. This voice feels safe, but it's the biggest trap. That voice has stolen more progress than any real obstacle in your life. Bruce Lee's words force you to question that voice. He wants you to recognize that your first attempt does not need to be flawless. It only needs to exist. Because once something exists, once you take action, you break the mental illusion that held you captive. This is the emotional shift part 6 is designed to trigger. A shift from hesitation to motion, from overthinking to clarity, from fear to courage. As you listen, I want you to feel this message tightening its grip on your mind. Not to pressure you, but to awaken you. Because the truth is simple. You're not stuck because life is hard. You are stuck because your standards are unrealistic. You expect day 1 to look like year 5. You expect your first step to be flawless when it only needs to be taken. Bruce Lee believed that growth is not found in perfection. It is found in motion. It is found in trying. It is found in learning from every small, imperfect attempt. And this is where the emotional breakthrough begins. When you realize that your hesitation is not protecting you, it is slowing you. When you accept that you don't need applause to start, you only need direction. When you understand that the world doesn't demand perfection from you, it simply waits for your first move. Think about the opportunities you've ignored because they didn't feel perfect. Think about the projects you abandoned because someone might not approve. Think about the skills you never developed because you were afraid to be a beginner. Now imagine what your life could look like if you finally release that pressure. What if you let yourself be human? What if you allowed your journey to be messy? What if you started today, even imperfectly? Because that is exactly how mastery begins. Every expert was once a beginner. Every success story started with a flawed chapter. Every transformation was triggered by one imperfect action. Bruce Lee's message isn't meant to challenge you. It is meant to free you. Free you from the chains of unrealistic expectations. Free you from the fear of judgment. Free you from the pressure to appear perfect before you even begin. And when this truth sinks in, your mindset shifts from "I can't yet" to "I can start now." From "what if I fail" to "what if this changes my life?" From "I'm not good enough" to "I am finally moving." This is the breakthrough. This is the turning point. This is the moment you stop waiting and finally begin. If you've made it to this final part, then something inside you is already changing. You didn't just watch a video. You walked through an emotional journey. You faced your hesitation. You reflected on your fears. And now, you arrive at the moment where everything comes together. Because Bruce Lee's message becomes more than a quote. It becomes a decision. Perfection is your enemy. This is not just a motivational line. It's a doorway to your next chapter. Think for a moment about how many times in your life you stopped yourself just because you felt unprepared. How many ideas died because you were waiting for the right moment. How many dreams faded because you told yourself one day instead of today? But here's the truth you must carry with you after this video. There is no perfect moment. There's only the moment you choose to act. And right now, this is that moment. Let's slow down and breathe into this idea. Imagine your life 6 months from now. Imagine you finally start that one thing you've been postponing. Maybe it's a skill, a dream, a project, a business, a habit, a new version of yourself. Picture how different your nights will feel when you go to bed, knowing you moved forward instead of holding back. Picture how different your confidence will feel when your progress becomes visible. Picture how your entire life shifts because you stopped demanding perfection and started demanding action. This isn't fantasy. This isn't fiction. This is exactly how real transformation begins. In small, imperfect steps that become unstoppable momentum. Bruce Lee never said you must be flawless. He said you must be fluid, adaptive, courageous enough to start without guarantees, strong enough to stay consistent even when the results are slow. Because the real enemy isn't failure. It's refusing to begin. And that is the emotional truth part 7 wants you to absorb deeply. Your next chapter depends on your next action. Not on judgment, not on approval, not on perfection, just action. When you leave this video, you will carry 2 choices with you. Choice 1, you continue thinking, planning, waiting, preparing, but never stepping forward. You hold on to the belief that you need to be more polished, more ready, more perfect. Choice 2, you take Bruce Lee's words as permission. Permission to start messy. Permission to grow publicly. Permission to be human and still be unstoppable. Only one of these choices creates a future worth living. And here's the emotional twist you must understand. You don't need to transform everything today. You only need to transform your next step. If the voice inside you says, "What if I'm not good enough?" Answer it with, "I'm getting better every day." If your mind whispers, "What if I fail?" Reply, "Failure is a direction, not a dead end." If you find yourself asking, "What if it doesn't work?" Tell yourself, "What if it changes everything?" Your story is still being written. And no matter how long you've paused, you can always press play again. So as this video reaches its final moment, let this message anchor itself in your heart. You are stronger than your hesitation. Your potential is bigger than your fear. And your future is waiting on one simple decision. The decision to begin without demanding perfection from yourself. When you walk away today, walk away lighter. Walk away clearer. Walk away knowing that the pressure to be perfect is gone. Only growth remains. Only progress remains. Only your journey remains. And if Bruce Lee could stand in front of you right now, he would remind you in his calm, confident voice, do not fear imperfection. Fear inaction. This is your moment. This is your turning point. Your new story begins right now. Thank you for staying with me till the end. Your time and energy truly mean a lot. If today's message inspired you even a little, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and join this journey of growth and self-improvement. Your support helps this community grow stronger every day.